how do you feel about sales calls? Because I know that when I first started the business, I hated them.
And so many people do. So many people get so nervous about sales, discovery calls, strategy sessions, whatever you call your way of onboarding a client from not client to client, whatever you call it. So many people get nervous. They don't know what to do. They treat it like an interview. They say all the wrong things. They say all the wrong things in the wrong way. They don't do any things in the right order, because there's an order as well in terms of how to take people on this journey. And then they, for the want of a better word, shit themselves when it comes to talking about the offer, the price. And then when the person says they can't afford it because they've done not a very, very good job, they just go, okay, no problem, bye.
Yeah.
And then they go on to the next one. And what happens is 3 or 4 or 5 of those, you will start to wonder, can you do it? So we're going to take you on a little bit of a journey here to not just take you through a sales call, but just give you some tips on what to do, how to show up. How to show up is probably the most important thing. We're not going to give you questions. I'm not going to give you rebuttals. I'm not going to give you things to say. I'm just going to give you things that you might want to start thinking about, which is going to help you to go into your sales calls so much better.
Yeah. I remember when I first started to do proper sales calls, and I was given a script to follow, and it was the most awkward thing that I have ever done. So I hosted my discovery calls on Zoom, and when it got to actually talking through the offer, I turned off my camera.
I've had it done to me, and it's the most weirdest thing in the world.
The end of the conversation, everything's flowing, and I said, oh, I'm just going to turn my camera off whilst I talk to you about the offer.
Yeah.
It was so awkward because I was reading from a script.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Don't do it. Please don't. There's a lot of sales pros out there. I'm not the best salesperson in the world. I've been trained by one of the best salesperson in the world. And, he doesn't use scripts. Will he create scripts? And can scripts be useful? Scripts can be useful in the sense that they give you a guide. But you're not out there to just ask specific questions. What you are out there to do is get specific answers that you need in order to be able to offer somebody the right thing. So how can you know what question you need to ask when you don't know what information has been provided? So that's what's really important is if you're going to have a script, but don't actually read from it. You just want to memorize it in your brain so that you know where to go, which direction to go in, should things go off cue. What I would like to say, and this is a tip, is have a structure. Have a structure of what you're going to do and when. What's the process that you're going to take people through? Because, if you talk about the offer before you've asked any questions or before you understand what they need, it's going to go wrong. If you give them the price before anything else or the investment, it's probably going to go wrong. There's a way in which to put the investment to them. The way in which to say the numbers, the way in which that you put that together affects how that person will feel as well. So it needs to be very strategic and calculated, but it needs to be strategic and calculated in a way that it is allowed to flow. So it wants to be strategically flowy, if that makes any sense to you, because there needs to be a process, but it needs to roll with the person that you are working with.
Yeah, having a structure to sales calls changed everything for me. So I ripped up the script, got rid of that. And then I just had a structure, a flow to follow, and that helped me feel so much more comfortable because when I was following somebody else's script, somebody else's words, first of all, I didn't feel like myself, so that came across. My energy was not there because I was focusing so much on these words that somebody else had put together. But then having this flow, I was really able to put my own spin on it. And that's how I was able to build so much more rapport, so much more connection with the person I was speaking to, and that is what resulted in so many more sales. But another thing that I really worked on is actually before you get on the call, like I think sometimes people miss this bit. So not just the planning bit, we're going to get onto that, but actually having some kind of routine or some kind of ritual that got me into the best frame of mind ever. So I used to visualize how I wanted the call to go. So I'd get, so excited and imagine this person saying yes, they wanted to work with me. I'd imagine the call going super, super well. Sometimes I'd go for a little walk if I just needed to get a bit more energy, if I was feeling a little bit tired. I'd go for a little walk, I would jump up and down, put some music on and start dancing around just to get my energy flowing. Because I'm wondering how many people have been on a call with somebody and you could feel that their energy was completely flat.
Yep.
Like they didn't want to be
Yeah,
there.
you're not going to be spending money with them, are you? Let's be honest. So it really comes down to you. And again, there's ways of communicating with yourself, with the other person. And yeah, I suppose I'm just going to ask a question here. How many, how do you feel when you're on the call and, somebody isn't really showing up properly, or they're not answering the questions properly, or how you would think they should be answering the questions, or they say no, or they say they can't afford it? What are you thinking through this journey? Are you thinking, oh my God, I can't believe it? Or are you thinking, how can I help this person? Can I support them? How can I find a way to communicate that to them? Because if you start getting annoyed at what they're not doing, it's usually something because you're not doing, because they're just a person. They may never have been in this situation before. They may never have been on a call before. They may be absolutely bricking it. They may not want to tell you all the deep, dark secrets. They may not want to tell you that they can't afford it. They don't have any money. They're this, that, and the other. There's a lot going through somebody's mind when they get on a call with you. So you need to lead them. And when I say lead them, you need to direct them in the right direction and then help them feel comfortable and at ease and at peace and relaxed. Not like they're at the dock, and being served by the barrister or the solicitor. That's not how somebody wants to feel. So it wants to feel comfortable, wants to feel easy and breezy, but serious at the same time. And that can be created through your words as well.
Yeah. And I think when people do follow somebody else's script, there's usually a lot of hard-hitting questions in there that just don't flow, like you were saying before. And this is where I like to make sure that I'm prepared and planned for a discovery call. So we always send out a form or a questionnaire, survey, whatever you want to call it. And we get people to start opening up before they've even got on the call with us, because that just makes it a little bit easier sometimes. If somebody's asking you a question to your face, it's the first time I've ever seen somebody, you do feel a little bit of resistance. But I sometimes find that when people are filling out a form or a survey, they're in their own environment, in their own time. They really do open up to you so much. So even before you get on the discovery call, you've got all these answers to certain questions that you can then start to dig into. Yeah. So, for example, you can plan what you want to ask based on their responses to your questions in the form. And it just makes it a little bit more easier. Like on the form, you mentioned this. I'd just like to dive into that a little bit more if you're okay to do that.
Yeah, especially if it's something awkward or something money related. So it'll be probably money or time related, or they can't afford it, they can't do it, they're not sure, they're not sure about themselves. So that person will know that they've written that. That person will know that they think they can't afford it. So what's the best thing to do is get it out in the open early doors, but not just go, oh, I've noticed that you said you can't afford it. That's not going to make them feel good. So it wants to be something like Amy just said there is, I noticed on your form, you've mentioned that money's a little bit tight at the moment. Could we just explore it? And the chances are 99 times out of 100 they'll go, yeah. And then it's not going to become an objection. If it's a real issue, it's a real issue that you may or may not be able to work through. The chances are it's probably not a real issue. It's just something that they've created to create a little bit of a barrier for themselves and a little bit of protection. But what it allows you to do is understand it. So if it is just a protective mechanism, brilliant, you've uncovered it. And if it's a real issue, you either end a call and isn't in a nice way if they've just got no money, no way of doing it, or actually you go through the call and see if you can come up with a solution for them.
Yeah, like I can't afford it is the easiest excuse. Like you need to make sure that you've delivered on your side of the call as well, like helping them to feel relaxed, helping them to feel calm, helping them to see like they can actually trust you.
Yep.
And I feel like a lot of times we've had calls in the past where, you're not made to feel that way. Yep. And it does feel really awkward. So what is the easiest excuse? Well, there's two, isn't there? I'll get back to you. And then they never do.
Yeah.
Or I can't afford it.
Yep. And you're going to get them. You are going to get them, even when you've done a fantastic job. Are there strategies to prevent that from happening, or to pull that round, or close it? If people use that kind of terminology, of course there are. But what that usually means is there's been something missed, or something not done, or not something said in the wrong way, or not asked in the right way throughout the call. And what you're able to do with a structure, and we teach this, again, hold my hands up. We teach that with a structure that I've learned, that we've learned, in order to make people feel as comfortable as possible. And one other myth that we're going to bust here as well is people said never coach in a sales call. Well, you're always coaching. You're always coaching somebody to something. And ultimately, I see it as coaching somebody to the sale. And if that's me helping let go of limiting beliefs, or let go of this, or let go of some things that have held them back in the past that are no longer serving them, I'll coach them. I'll do whatever I need to do to help them see that they can achieve it, and they can do it, and they can find a way. If they can find a way, of course. And that's the most important bit. And, you know, I love to do a little bit of coaching. I did it yesterday, and we spent about an hour just getting to know each other, really understanding this person. Today, she signed up. It was like, it was easy.
Yeah. I love coaching in a discovery call because I feel like it's a way for someone to understand your vibe and your style.
Mm.
If people are going to be investing thousands and thousands of pounds, like, I would want that happening to me. I would want to feel safe and feel like, okay, I really vibe with this person's coaching style.
Yep.
If I was going to invest thousands of pounds in myself as well, so I'm all for it.
Yep. And that's it. That's the bottom line. And there's many people that will tell you not to. They may be right, they may be wrong, but in our experience, we've done a lot of it, is if you need to do a little bit of coaching to help somebody get to the point where they can say yes, because most people will come to you, if you're a service provider or coach, with probably not the strongest mindset, maybe not enough belief in themselves. If they had all of those things, they wouldn't need you, they'd be doing it. So they've got some problems or issues or things and challenges they need to work through. So our job is to help them see that they can do that. And if that's instilling a little bit of belief in them so that they can say yes, do a little bit of coaching, who's to say that that's right or wrong? I would just suggest that it's something that you try, you have a little bit of fun with. And if you're going to do a little bit of coaching, maybe ask permission. Would you mind me just coaching you through this a little bit? Is that okay? Of course. No one's going to say no, are they?
That's it. And, coaching is just asking the right question at the right time.
In the right way.
In the right way. And a lot of people, when they're on the edge of investing in themselves, they've got a lot of questions that need answering.
Yep.
A lot of internal questions. So if you don't ask them the right question in the right way at the right time, you're actually doing them a disservice, in my opinion.
Yep, 100%. So we're going to leave you on one thing. I've got one small thing for you to start instilling and etching into your brain, and it's a saying, and I alluded to it earlier, and it's a saying that you want on loop running through your brain, and it's, how can I help this person? It's not how can I sell to them. It's not how can I make money off them. It's not how can I get off this call as quickly as possible and go get the Stripe notification. It's how can I help this person? And what that will do is allow you to ask the right question at the right time in the right way. It will allow you to say the right thing. It will allow you to lean out when you need to lean out. It will allow you to lean in when you need to lean in. It will allow you to push when you need to push. It will allow you to challenge and nudge and guide when you need to do all of those things. But have that running through a loop on your brain. How can I help this person? And more often than not, you will get it right rather than wrong.
Yeah, and one thing you're going to learn about us is that we like to do sales in a very different way. We are always doing sales from an ethical point of view and in integrity as well. And a lot of people in the online space are not. Like, if it's not the right thing for somebody,
we'll tell you.
Absolutely, tell you. And, we've got a whole module on sales inside of Launch to Freedom. It's very in-depth because Chris is the
very thorough
hosting this module, because sales is so much more than just getting as much money from people as possible. It really is about understanding people. It's about building relationships. And it's about doing the right thing for the right people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's so important. And we'd love to share it with you.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you so much.
Yep, we'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next episode.
Bye.